This looks like a great idea, right? A self-watering growing tray for microgreens. These trays are 5.5 by 4 inches. That is very small. Take a look at these reviews. Apparently, people don't read the description. These things are not just small, they are minuscule. They are also not well made according to the reviews. They're made of thin plastic and some came dented in. I'm actually surprised that True Leaf is selling an obviously inferior product. They could make these trays a bit bigger and with better materials. I like True Leaf and order many of my seeds from them, so this is a real puzzler and a disappointment. They also sell this as a kit with everything you need to grow microgreens hydroponically or in soil, but the price on that is, well, I'll let you be the judge. The idea of using a wicking rope is not a new one, of course, but when I saw this kit on their website, I thought, I could make that easily for next to nothing, and so I did. These kale microgreens were grown using a bottom watering system patterned after the one I saw on the True Leaf website, and it cost me almost nothing. Well, I did need to buy wicking rope, but the containers I used were takeout food containers, and mine looked much sturdier than what was described on the website. I needed some wicking rope, so Amazon to the rescue. This is what I got, 1/4-inch wicking cord. The rope is made from a polyester blend, and they claim it will not rot. Cotton rope will rot over time. That means once I set up the system, I can use it over and over and over again. The rope also came with instructions that explained how to use it, although it is really self-explanatory. The only thing I didn't know is when you cut the rope, you should burn the frayed ends to seal them so they won't unravel. I also needed some containers to experiment with, and these food containers were perfect since they're food safe and also free. Nice. Look for containers where the lid has a bit of a lip so you can flip the lid and put growing medium in it, and then the container itself will act as a reservoir for the water. I'm going to need to make holes in the lid to thread the rope through, and this plastic is thin enough to make holes easily, yet it's sturdy enough to hold the growing medium and the microgreens. This food container has a very deep lip, so it won't work since when you flip the lid, it doesn't leave any room for water under it. But when I put the lid as the bottom, it had just enough space for the water, so this could work too. Next, I needed to make holes in the lid to thread the rope through. A good way to do this is with a soldering iron, which I have someplace, but I couldn't find it, so I took a screwdriver and held it over a flame to get it hot, and then it was easy to make holes as the hot screwdriver melted the plastic lid. I measured how much rope I would need for this lid and then cut 3 equal-sized pieces. You can see the ends are frayed, so following the instructions that came with the rope, I sealed off the ends with a fire. And then I threaded the 3 ropes through the lid. Then I did the same thing for the round takeout container. So now I have 2 containers to try out. I filled them both with water and the ropes were wet, so they were definitely wicking up the water. I decided to put a paper towel at the bottom of the rectangular container. This helps to wick up the water even faster and also to distribute it more evenly, not just around the rope, and I wanted to see if it would really make a difference, or if the rope itself was enough to keep the microgreens happy. Then I filled the lids with growing medium. I used potting soil this time. Usually I use coconut coir, but I had some leftover potting soil I wanted to use up, so that's what I used. The soil felt a bit dry on top, so I misted it with some water. And then I sprinkled both containers with seeds. These are Red Russian Kale seeds. I love these microgreens. They're very pretty and they have a nice mild taste. Then I put each of the containers into a plastic bag. These I recycle from the supermarket produce. They help the seeds to germinate faster by keeping the moisture in. I do this just until the seeds germinate. Then I put the trays in a dark place. Alright, it's day 3 and I haven't touched these containers since I planted them, so let's have a look. These are now at the sprouting stage, and if you touch the soil, it feels very moist. Let's have a look at the round container, and it looks the same. It's at the sprouting stage, and the soil is still moist. Now, you might be wondering, what is the advantage to bottom watering? Mostly it prevents overwatering, since the soil or whatever medium you're using drinks up the water only when it starts to feel dry. Top watering can damage seedlings if you're not careful, and having wet leaves can cause an environment that encourages fungal issues. Also, if you're introducing nutrients into the water, then you may not want those nutrients to damage the delicate leaves of the microgreens. One more thing about watering, it's a good idea to let the soil, or whatever medium you're growing in, dry out just a bit before harvesting so there isn't too much moisture. The less moisture there is in the microgreens, the easier it is to dry and store the microgreens. All right, today is day 5 and it's time to uncover the microgreens. They are already pushing up the trays I used to cover them. The water level has also dropped in the reservoir, so I'm going to add some more. If this was coconut coir, I would add some nutrient solution at this point, but since they're growing in soil, which is rich in nutrients, I'm just using plain water. Okay, today is day 6, and I put the microgreens into the grow tent to get some light. I actually didn't add any water yesterday, and the round container has just a bit still left, but the rectangular container, the one where I put the paper towel under the soil, that one is already dry. In terms of growth, both containers look about the same. It's now day 7 and both microgreens are doing great. I didn't notice this at the time, but the round one was not getting the same amount of light as the rectangular one. I flipped them around a few times, but I think I left the round one in the shade longer than the rectangular one. The shade, by the way, is courtesy of my hydroponic Tiny Tim tomatoes, and they have some fruit already appearing. Very exciting. Both trays look ready to harvest, but I didn't need them yet, so I let them grow some more for another few days. You can let them keep growing until they start to put out a second set of leaves. Those are called true leaves, but until then, they're still considered microgreens. All right, today is day 10, and I'm ready to harvest these. I use a scissor. I know some people use a knife. Use whatever works for you. I try to cut down as close to the soil level as I can without getting any of the soil in the microgreens. The cleaner I can keep them, the better. But just before I eat them, I make sure to wash them anyway. For now, I will store them away dry and unwashed. If you wash them, then lay them out on a towel to dry before you store them in the refrigerator. They will keep longer that way. The round container looks like it could use another day under the lights, and sure enough, the next day they were ready to harvest. Here's what the roots look like after I harvested the microgreens. They are all growing around the wicking rope, but it was pretty easy to pull it all off, wash the container, and then it's ready to reuse again and again. So that's my rendition of the bottom watering system. It's easy to make and a lot cheaper. But microgreens are usually easy to grow, especially the kale. So if you're interested in making a bottom watering system for yourself, then give it a try. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thanks for watching. Bye.